back to Rating the List, where we review, discuss, and reimagine popular movie lists objectively. We're your hosts. I'm Jeri.
And I'm Brad, and on this episode we'll be exploring number 17 from Jeri's top 20 movies of all time. And her number 17 is Silver Linings Playbook. It was released in 2012, directed by David O. Russell, written by David O. Russell and Matthew Quick, based on Matthew Quick's novel. Edited by Jay Cassidy and Crispin Struthers, starring Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence. After losing his job and his wife, Pat Solitano spends time in a mental institution. After release, he lives with his parents and works to rebuild his life and reunite with his wife. He meets Tiffany, who offers to help him reconnect with his life in exchange for a very important favor. All right, so I think this kind of goes back to that quirky character thing. Like, all the characters in this movie are quirky. Especially, in my opinion, I think the quirkiest character in this movie is his dad, played by Robert De Niro.
His best performance in a long time.
Yeah, it's one of his best 21st century performances, for sure. He's really, really good in this role. Both Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence's characters are really kooky. I think there's a really great performance by what's his name? The guy who's his friend, who keeps breaking up.
Oh, yeah.
What's his name?
I don't know his name.
He's in the movies with Jackie Chan. What's the dude's name? It's not, Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker. He just shows up like
he's so great.
You haven't seen him in anything in a really long time. And he doesn't do like the Chris Tucker thing.
Mm-mm.
Like you see like that like over the top like performance that you'd see like in Friday or the Rush Hour movies. He's this like really understated dude who he keeps like, you can tell he's like super intelligent because he keeps like throwing out like all these like legal terms and stuff like that, but he keeps like breaking out of the mental institution like illegally, which like starts like in the first scene of the movie where like Bradley Cooper's mom comes to pick him up.
She's phenomenal in this movie too.
She comes to pick him up, and you know he's in like the car with her, and then like all of a sudden like they find out that he's not supposed to like be out yet. And then he shows up later at their house, like a few weeks later, same thing. Like the cops show up to like pick him up again. It's just really, really funny. It's kind of a running gag in the movie that he keeps popping up.
Yeah.
I have mixed thoughts about this movie. One, I like the fact that they kind of discuss mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think they quite do it well enough. I think they gloss over some stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they talk about... One, I think there's two ways you can interpret this movie. One is you can interpret that he is bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's evidence to support that. I also think you could say that he doesn't have bipolar, and I think there's evidence to support that as well.
But isn't he diagnosed with bipolar?
He's not. Like, watch the movie. Watch the movie again. They really don't. And but
they put him on meds.
But again, are they bipolar meds? Or that's the thing, is like it's really ambiguous as to what they're doing in terms of treating him. Like, he goes off the meds and his doctor doesn't even flinch about it. Like, watch The Doctor.
Okay.
So Dr. Gupta,
Who's great.
He's fantastic. But watch him and the way he talks about it, and he doesn't really address Pat having any kind of real mental illness. So you could also play it that Pat just has an anger management problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's that. And then I don't think they address what Tiffany's mental health issue actually is. I did some reading on this, and there's some people who think it's borderline personality disorder, and then others think that maybe she's also bipolar. I think that's a problem with the movie, is not addressing, is like giving him this like mental health stew. because there are many different types of mental health problems that people have, and there are varying degrees of all of them. And I think
that makes
kind
sense.
of just saying this person has a mental health issue, it's great to address that they have it, but then to not kind of, if you're not going to like focus on it, it just seems like it's just kind of it's almost like a writing thing. Like it's like, what character traits can we give or whatever. And I haven't read the book, so I don't know if it's addressed better in the book or not or what, but that was kind of the thing that really stuck out at me this time. Is just like, are we gonna, because I think as I've the older I've gotten, the more I understand mental health issues.
Well, let me give you my thoughts on that.
Okay.
My thoughts are, he clearly shows a manic side to him when he starts spiraling, when he's upset about the Ernest Hemingway book or whichever book he's reading, War and Peace or whatever, and he just spirals. I mean that, and he even states when he's talking with his dad, he's like, see that thing that you do with your remotes? He's like, that's OCD shit.
Oh, his dad definitely has OCD.
Yeah, he's like, that's OCD.
And that's the other, like, that's also one of those things that kind of tips it towards, well, there's clearly a history of mental health
and
issues.
I don't think she has a mental health issue. I think she's depressed because her husband died. And she's having a hard time coping and grieving over it.
Yeah. And there's that take too. So I've seen both takes. I've seen that as well. But I've also seen people say she quite possibly has borderline personality or bipolar or nothing. That's kind of my thing here. It's like address these things. Like I think you could, as long as you address it, I think playing it any of those ways makes sense for her character.
Okay.
To say, you know what, I have a short-term issue with depression that is brought on by the fact that my husband died in a very tragic way, and I'm like probably one of the youngest widows you'll find, and then dealing with that and the ramifications for how she's dealing with that. Using sex to soothe, just having sex, with random people and stuff like that.
But she's having promiscuous sex. There must be a mental issue.
There's that, written by men,
right?
But and that's what I'm saying is they're again, they're with her character just as much as his. There's clues to maybe she is and maybe she isn't, and I think they just need to kind of give you a more, when you're dealing with something like this, with a subject serious enough where you can't just let it be a weird character trait.
Okay, yeah, I get you.
It's got to be part of who they are and not a trait. And I think it's written as character traits for both of them instead of just who they are.
Okay.
That was my take on it this last time.
Okay.
It doesn't diminish the movie for me because I think the performances in this movie are so good. But David O. Russell also isn't like known for his sensitivity, shall we say? Right. So it's interesting that he was the director that took this on, but
yeah, I agree. I love the performances of the movie. The characters feel very lived in to me.
Everything feels lived in, like that house.
Yeah.
Like that house, like you just like, what that house felt like to me? That felt like your aunt's house.
Really?
Yeah. I'm just the age of it.
Yeah.
Like that house is just
the
like
wallpaper and shit.
Everything about it's just like, you're like, this feels like a house that has seen a lot of family history.
Yes.
And your aunt's house was like that.
Yeah. It's I could see that. But yeah, the Eagles play like a big part in this movie, which I hear that Eagle fans are like off the charts.
My old boss is an Eagle fan.
Yeah, so in seeing this, it's interesting because, you know, his dad's a bookie now too, right? Because he's a bookie because he lost his job. So he's like really into like, you know, wheeling and dealing and what is he, you know, what is he winning? Who's come watch with me, come watch
and everything like, and you know that I know those people too. It's like that everything's a gamble.
Yeah.
Like down to like, you know, like the big like thing that she wants him to do is so her sister is best friends with Pat's wife. So she kind of has an in for him, and she's kind of acting as a conduit because Pat's got a restraining order against talking with his wife, so he can't like reach out to her directly. So basically he came home from work early, like on a lunch hour or whatever, and you know, his wife is with a fellow, they're both teachers, his wife was with another teacher like in the shower, and he just absolutely lost it and basically like almost killed this guy, beating him to, you know, to a pulp, which I think a lot of people can understand him.
Yeah,
but the reaction was a little extreme.
Well, yeah, because he's got
and
mental health issues
or anger management issues, depending on your take on the movie. Which again, I think is a detriment to the writing, as they should have really outlined it. Anyway, so you know, so he can't. She's got a restraining order. So you know, part of his court, you know, appointed stuff is, you know, he can be out, but he can't contact her. He can't go to the school. All this kind of stuff. He's got to stay away. So, but he's like absolutely like, you know, convinced that they should be together and this and that. And you know, Tiffany basically agrees to help him, you know, correspond with his wife if he helps her in this like dance competition that she really wants to do. So that's kind of how they bond. They bond over like developing this ridiculous dance routine, which is really, really funny.
Yes.
And I really love the fact that they don't make them great at this.
Yes.
It's super realistic.
It is very realistic, and yeah, she was very focused. I wanna go and I wanna dance in this thing, and it's also the same night as like the playoffs or something.
Yeah, so like her dad turns it into this like parlay bet with like the, you know, this other guy. It's like a double or nothing bet because he lost his bet, and he's like convinced it was because Pat did something different because of his. It's a whole thing with this family.
Yeah.
And but you know, the movie's full. Like I said, this is like totally up your alley in terms of like quirky characters. Everyone's a goof, and you know, it's kind of a dramedy. You know, it's dealing with very, very serious subjects, but there's also a lot of really funny shit in the movie. So, I think you appreciate that too. I think absurdia just kind of attracts you. I think you like watching things that are really absurd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my jam.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but yeah. I think too, like, not that I think my family all has like mental, but you know, it feels real to me. It feels like a real family dealing with real issues, and you know, and that your parents aren't perfect either. Like your parents have shit going on as well, you know? And I like their dynamic. I know the age gap probably upset some people between Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence. I think they're pretty, like, I think he's in his 40s and she's like 20 something.
I think I think there's like 13 years between them, something like that. But the reason they keep getting cast together is they have amazing chemistry. They've been, I think, in 3 or 4 movies together.
Yeah, they do have really good chemistry together. And I think that's one of the ones that, one of the reasons why the movie works so well. It's because of their chemistry and how
this movie wouldn't work without the 2 leads having, like, it's clear they're attracted to each other, but also trying to deal with all their own stuff,
all their baggage.
Time.
Yeah. It's good too. Like it really feels like when the way it's filmed, the way it's directed, when Bradley Cooper is having and Pat is having an episode.
How jarring the camera gets.
The camera gets jarring. It's doing like circle camera and you start feeling the panic and the anxiousness.
I did. I was watching it, like when that started happening, I was feeling anxious.
Yeah,
I really was.
Yeah, that's like that movie Uncut Gems. That's how I felt through the whole thing.
I haven't seen that yet.
I felt so anxious through that whole movie.
That's why I haven't watched it, because I'm like...
yeah, I was tired after watching that movie, because it was like, you know. But yeah, so it's a great movie. Do you have any final thoughts?
Your final thoughts. It's your movie.
What's my final thoughts?
Oh, I gave it a 61.2. Again, this is not one that would be on my top 100. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it's not something I need to revisit.
It's a very rewatchable movie for me. Like, I could put this movie on and just do laundry and stuff. Like, I could watch it over and over again.
Yeah, I started watching it and you almost like...
Yeah, I almost started sitting down. It was like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, you gotta go to bed.
But, yeah, that's it. So that's Silver Linings Playbook. That was my number 17. If you have any comments about this movie, please leave a comment on the video. If you have any questions and want to talk to us directly, please do so at Rating the List. But I think that's it for now. I'm Jeri.
I'm Brad.
And we're Rating the List. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.